You're listening to the Fitzrock Podcast, interviews where we explore the shifts and transitions of life. Here are your hosts, Keith Rock and Don Fitzsimmons. Hello, everybody. Today we get to talk with Ember Hughes. Ember is the owner of Warrior Construction and is also a life coach at Ignite Life Coaching. Ember, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
I'm excited to have you today, Ember. I mean, wow, you just have this infectious personality that I totally pick up. We have not actually met in person, but I see all of your wonderful meetings you have with people and how excited they are to meet you. So tell us a little bit about you and how you got to be where you are today.
Yeah, so I started out about 4 years ago with the construction company, and it just evolved from there. We primarily specialize in decks, and I enjoy building as well as working with my contractors to do what they love to do. And life coaching just kind of happened. Alan approached me at an event one night, and Alan, he's the leader of the Lion team. And I think, Keith, you're familiar with the Lion team.
I am.
But those of you who are not, Lion team is for lions. Lion stands for a lover is a leader, a lover is a giver, and a lover is a life coach. So love influences others naturally is a great inspirational way to get somebody like myself to be involved. Coming from a place of love has been essential for me, and becoming a life coach just was a natural talent for me.
How did life coaching, I know you talked with Alan and things, but what sparked that interest in you, and what made that happen for you?
Yeah. So some people call it empathic, but a lot of people approach me and just word vomit or divulge their entire life stories to me. And I've been present for a lot of people very vulnerably, very personally, and it's an honor to be close to someone in that regard and be a place of safety for them to be able to share things that they otherwise wouldn't be able to share, and to guide them along their way to becoming a better version of themselves. I was already doing that until I found out it was actually a profession and something you can do professionally. And Alan just kind of helped guide me to that point.
Is there a certain kind of client that you prefer working with, or you get more excited about?
I don't have preferences, but I do get excited to work with young women who struggle with doing all of the things all of the time. They're, it could be just a young girl at a college that, feels overwhelmed with her sense of responsibility to take care of everything. Or it could be a mom who is taking care of the kids, the house, the husband, a full-time job, a side gig, all of the things. And so anytime I talk to, or an entrepreneurial young woman, anytime I talk to them, I tend to light up and, I get excited because I can resonate and I have an affinity with those type of people.
Where do you think that passion came from for that group of folks?
Probably my experiences from the beginning of time for me. Everything that I've done, I've always been that person that wants to do all the things, try all the things. From the time I was little, I was like, yeah, let's go fishing. Yeah, let's go hike that. Let's go do this. To now that I've been a mom myself, I've been married myself, had a couple of businesses, closed a restaurant last year due to COVID. And, I've learned so much through my experiences that I feel like I can resonate with them, relate to them. And I have, good guiding properties to help them through and push through, find their own way to get out of some of their own struggles, get out of their own way.
So obviously you're really good at helping people. Was there ever a time when life was hard for you, and how did you get through that, if you did?
Oh, yes. Most recently would be the restaurant I opened last year, March 30th. And then the next day got called and said, hey, you have to shut down. It was something that my construction company built out. So I had pride in that. And a cousin of mine has started. And so I was really excited to be part of something beautiful that he had created and is still going strong with. And it was just bad timing. You can't plan for a pandemic. You can't, there's nothing you can do for that. It just happened, and I rolled with it. We hung on as long as we could. And at the end of it, I could have hung out there longer without knowing, but sometimes it's more important to know when to make the right decision for not only you, but your family and everyone affected. And it was just the right time. So about October, I had to close it.
Wow, that had to be really difficult. So you were doing a restaurant, you were doing your construction business, and you were working on your life coaching at that time?
Life coaching hadn't come up for me yet. I was coaching, but didn't know it, but not professionally. So I just started that this year.
So you're doing two businesses at the same time?
Yes.
Wow. There you go. That tells you a lot about Ember. So what has been your biggest challenge in life coaching?
My own worth, placing a value on helping others and getting out of my way in that has been very difficult, because to me, it's very personally rewarding to help another human being, especially when you see that light bulb click on and they get it and they just thrive in life. That, it almost brings me to tears, but that's a reward enough for me, but also I have to pay the bills. So putting a dollar amount to helping others has been a struggle. But it's definitely one that I feel like over the last 6 months, I'm overcoming.
So did you grow up here? I probably should have asked you that from the beginning, but like, where did you grow up and how did you get here? Or have you always been here?
No, I was born in the Bay Area in California, in Fremont, and I grew up in Modesto, California, until high school. Then my dad moved us out to Carthage, Missouri from California. It was quite a change, but it was a welcome one. We didn't have a curfew at that time. They're like, just come back when the lights come on. I'm like, okay. So it was kind of nice, whereas we couldn't go in the front yard in California. And I got married to my high school sweetheart, and we moved up to Kansas City about 7 years ago. Since then divorced, but we co-parent excellently, and we have 2 boys. One is 11, his name is Liam, and one is 6, his name is Cohen.
Wow. Well, man, that's a lot. That's a lot.
That is a lot. So I think we set you up with, what are some of the life lessons that you have learned that you can share with us?
Yeah. First would be, don't hesitate. If you have an intuitive feeling, I've learned, many times where I had an intuition that I should just go ahead and do it, go for it. And I'm pretty good about just going for it and doing it. But there's been times when, I look back and I was like, dang it, I should have just trusted my gut. So trust your gut and just do it. Don't, do it first and ask for permission later.
So immediately you'll get some pushback, right? Like,
Yeah.
What about counting the cost?
Yeah.
Where does that fit in?
Cost, I suppose, of acting before, thinking it all the way through. I think there's some basic principles to that. Obviously, if it's going to hurt somebody else, it's something you should probably take some time to think through. If there's, harm involved for yourself or others. But if it's something that really, truly, there's no harm to others, and it's really just going to be a lesson for yourself, either way, and you can mentally wrap your brain around the fact that, even if you fail at it, you still tried and it's a lesson and it's not a failure, then you should definitely do it.
Okay, what about the next one? Is there more than one?
Yes, walk to the beat of your own drum. Don't look at everybody else around you, what they're doing, and try to mimic it. Just be yourself. Be vulnerable, be open, be weird, be crazy, be silly, and you just be yourself.
And how have you been weird, Ember?
Oh, I'm so weird. I would say that a girl in construction, a woman who likes to fish, I like to, fight. So, martial arts are something that I'm interested in. I don't mind sticking my tongue out and making a silly face at someone. I don't mind saying hello to somebody that I don't know. I don't mind putting myself out there. I don't try to put myself into a mold or a box. If I feel like dressing up and being a woman one day, and then, dressing down and wearing sweats and, just being comfortable in what you're wearing or how you're being, as long as it's vulnerably you and raw and you know, you're happy and again not hurting anybody else, then go for it.
So martial arts, tell me something about that. That's intriguing. Tell me about that.
A friend of mine approached me when I was working at, or when I owned my restaurant. He asked if I would be interested in taking a class in Krav Maga, and I had no knowledge of what that was prior to, but I was like, yeah, I like to hit stuff, I like to kick stuff, let's do it. And my boys joined along with me, and it turns out it's like the Israelite form of their military form of fighting. And it's pretty intense. And there's a lot of grappling, and there's a lot of choking, and a lot of throwing people around. And surprisingly, we have a good group of people in the class who like to do just that. So, and my instructor is very good at demonstrating each step of the process, so that we get to actually, you know, at the end we get tested, and we have learned at least 4 to 5 different moves each go around of with different ways to attack and to defend. So, you know, I really enjoyed doing that, and especially with my boys.
Mental note, don't mess with Ember. Everybody out there. So that sounds like it's fun. Tell us about what was obviously the restaurant, but what was like another hard lesson you've had to learn in life?
Oftentimes we allow the behaviors of those closest to us to continue, even though they may be harmful to ourselves. And putting in place, putting yourself first and respecting yourself first, and knowing when to either love someone go or say goodbye, not with animosity, not with hate or hurt in your heart, but just they don't have a purpose or a place in your life anymore, and you don't have to cater to or continue to work on that relationship, and not honor yourself in it, but move forward and honor yourself and let them go.
Love someone go. I'll remember that one. That's really good. I like that.
I can't think of it. That's totally an Alan one.
Is that an Alan?
Yeah.
Okay. That's good though. I like it. So tell us about an exciting lesson that you've learned.
Ooh, an exciting lesson. Yeah, I have tried a lot of things. A fun lesson. You know what? I think my funnest lesson of all has been becoming a mom. You know, I have 2 boys, and the first one's very old soul, very analytical, very logical, all heart. Very, very. You can have a really long, in-depth conversation with him about reincarnation. And my little one, by the age of 2, busted his head and needed staples and is all boy. Like, you know, so it's so exciting. It's so fun to watch each one of them grow and develop into the individual person that they're becoming, and experience it as a mom. You know, when you're a kid, you're like, oh, I'm going to be a mom and you're going to have to do all the things. But really, it's just amazing to sit back and watch them interact and become amazing human beings.
So you've obviously had a lot of people talk to you about their lives, okay? Mm-hmm. So sounds like very personal things in their lives. Is there a lesson you took away from all the things that you've heard all these stories? Is there a lesson you've taken away from all of that?
Yes. Yeah. Ironically, you kind of, what you put out there, you get back. So when you're putting an energy out there for the kind of people that you want to talk to, you're actually learning lessons yourself. And each person I talk to, I'm like, oh, I needed to hear that. Even sometimes when it comes out of my own mouth, I'm like, yep, that I hear you, universe, that was meant for me. But one of the biggest takeaways that I've seen is that we're human beings, not human doings. And, you know, goes back to the trying to do all the things all of the time. And if we could just slow down and take care of ourselves to be able to take care of others, that's been a resounding message that I've learned from all the people I've talked to.
Yeah, I'm curious to know, somebody as busy as you, how do you slow down? Like, what do you do?
Right now, I'm not big on watching TV, but I'm hooked on watching Vikings. I kind of have an affinity for the Viking culture. And if I can get up early enough, I'll go take a run, or I love to rollerblade, especially this time of year when it warms up, or fish. Or hiking and hammocking. Hammocking is my zen place. Like anytime I can throw up a hammock in nature, and especially if I find a place where I lose cell reception, even better, and spend a couple hours where my brain is not thinking about anything, just zoned out.
So you're able to like tune all that stuff out when it's time.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
feel like that's the hard part for me.
Yes.
Keep my brain from over functioning.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So what tips do you have for someone out there to, who's struggling with being able to reach that Zen place, I guess?
Biggest one is going to be to consciously and intentionally take the time to think about the things that bring you joy, and intentionally set a time to do those things. Either if you can't do it daily, at least set a goal to do it once a week. Give yourself time once a week for just you, to recharge, to slow down your thought process, to slow down your breathing, and enjoy just being alive. Enjoy just being who you are. And whatever it is, either meditation, hiking, hammocking, whatever your Zen place is, it could just be, shut the door to the closet, put a blanket down and sit there and just set that time, put some music in your ears, and just let things pass you by, and don't stress, and just take that time for yourself.
Good ideas. And when it comes to meditation, did you teach yourself that, or did someone teach you?
I have YouTubed a lot of meditation, but I've also been fortunate enough to know a lot of very spiritual, very empathetic people who are well in tune to nature bathing, or sound bathing, or intentional meditation practices that I've learned from. So it's been a collective.
Cool. What do you see in your future? What are you most excited about coming down the pike for you?
I'm just embarking on life coaching as a profession. So, I think even a year from now, seeing how I flourish in doing something I'm truly, truly passionate at. Aside from that, definitely traveling. I have a whole bucket list of places that I really want to go and visit and see.
Give us a top two.
Ireland, and
Wow.
Probably Bali.
Yeah, you don't aim small. I like that. It's not like, I want to go to St. Louis. I mean, you're really going for it. That's good.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, you said about the empath thing. I think I may have some of that. Do you ever feel like, if as an empath, like if somebody tells you a story, does it ever feel like you can almost feel the weight yourself of what the story is?
Oh, yes.
Like you can feel the weight of their story.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And even more so when I get into like a networking group, and I have like a bunch of people that want to divulge all at once. And I'm like holding my breath. And I'm like, oh, this is a lot. And, having taken a step back, and when I'm done, I'm like, like so emotionally exhausted from like buffering from each person. But if it's a really intense conversation one-on-one, even then, like if someone's talking about how they went through some trauma, I can feel it. Absolutely.
So there's kind of a reward, but there's also a cost to that, isn't there?
Yes. Which is why that hammocking Zen time is necessary.
See, I don't have that. All I have is pickleball, but let me tell you, you need to try that one time and see if you might like it.
Definitely have that on my list. I definitely want to try pickleball.
It's an acquired addiction. So life coaching, what do you see like that just being maybe your ultimate thing that you just do, life coaching, or is it just like the primary thing you see, or how do you see that playing out for you?
If I'm pie in the sky dreaming with my life coaching, I would love to have a center in nature where people can come and reconnect or ground themselves and experience life coaching powerfully in nature but I'd love it to be a center and a place that's not just for life coaching, but like outward expression. So art or dance or any other kind of medium that someone feels like they could be expressive with that fulfills them. I would love to have a place like that.
That sounds amazing. If there's anybody, I think that if my sense is if there's anybody that can make that happen, you're probably one of those people that can make that happen.
Thank you.
So as we're kind of coming to an end here, is there any final things you want to leave to the people that are listening to you, and just something you want them to know from your heart?
Yeah, I want to say thank you to you guys both for having me on first. It's an honor to be asked, and it's my first official podcast. So
congratulations. We knew you win.
Thank you. And to anybody listening, if they took anything away from this, just to remember to you can't help anybody else. You can't fill up anybody else's cup unless yours is full. So if your glass is half full, you're coming half full. If your glass is overflowing and someone says you're full of yourself, then say thank you. And it's okay.
I love that too. Wow.
Yeah.
Some good stuff today.
Hey, what are the best ways for someone to get a hold of you?
Yes.
They can email me, emberhughes@gmail.com, or I'm on Facebook. They can get a hold of me there, or Instagram. And, if we can get a hold of each other, we can text each other. So there's that too.
And that's if they want life coaching or a deck build, right?
Absolutely, yes. Or both. We can do both.
At the same time. Yeah, there you have it. Ember, thanks so much for joining us. And it's really been a pleasure to have you with us today. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Fitz Rock Podcast. The music you are hearing is Swim with Wild Musical Instruments by Your My Muse. Copyright 2019 and licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial License. Until next time, have a fantastic life.